Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So coming back to the OLE for process control or open platform communication. So this is just to give a glimpse of what is over a period of time it has evolved. So last 30 years almost. So it has undergone a lot of changes in terms of code, and then it is maintained by a common forum called opcfoundation.org. So whenever you have time, you can just go through, and then you can there are a lot of open source and then free tools available in this, just to get understanding of how it is used, and then there are a lot of testing tool as well available in this, so you can make use of it. So and it doesn't need any this thing fees or something. So and in terms of applications of OPC, it is used widely in process manufacturing industries, and then energy and utilities industries, and then food and beverages, mainly from the shop floor communication point of view, and then the transportation and even automobile industry as well, for capturing the time series data wherever the necessity for capturing the time series data. So this is a best choice. So let me switch to, just give me a couple of minutes. I'll be switching to other machine, and then I'll show you the simulation servers.
Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes. Have you shared some screens? We are able to hear. Yes, we are able to hear, yes. Are you sharing the screen?
Yeah, it's not allowing me to share my screen. Can you make me as host again, Preeta?
Sure, please. Please try now.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, I'm able to.
Okay. You are on the new machine now, right? You are able
Yeah.
to switch over. Yes, you're able to see the screen. Yes.
So I'll be showing two OPC simulation servers. So this is again all freely available. So one is Matricon. It is part of Honeywell Industries. So this is the what you call the client application for the OPC. So the server is this is called matricon.opc.simulation. This is one of the OPC servers. Once you install, it's a lightweight application, so you can install in your machine. So you need to install two components. One is OPC simulation server, and then there is a separate download for Matricon OPC Explorer, which is a client. So the moment you install the Matricon OPC server, it will automatically starts, and then it will install by itself, and then it will have default few simulated tags. What we call tags is nothing but a particular time series specific data point. So once you install that server and then followed by the Matricon OPC Explorer, which is nothing but a client, OPC client. So then you can choose which is the server you want to connect, and then you can connect. Yeah, so now it's connected, and then if you want to see the particular set of applications or the particular set of the process tags, then you need to choose the server which you have connected. So in currently, these are the local host, and then these are the servers which is running in this particular local machine. So the one is Kepware, and other is Matricon. It's part of the same application. So I'll just connect to the Matricon simulation server. So add group is similar to one which we will be discussing later as well. It is like a folder, right? So it is like what we call namespace in OPC. So it is nothing but a folder. So you can create any specific default name. So, and then once you create the namespace, then this is the tag explorer. So where you can see the set of tags. So I'll go with the simulation items. So these are the group of tags available for browsing or accessing the data around that. So I'll choose the folder or the namespace random, and then I can choose a couple of tags. So these are based on the data type. So OPC supports a variety of data types. So these are the unsigned integer, and then real to real 8, and then time as well, and then unassigned integers. So we can choose whichever integer or, and then add to the tag list. So we can add one or more tags to this. I can add all the tags or the time series or the data points for viewing, and then just click on update and return. So the moment you connect that and then choose the right data points, then it will start populating this. And then the scan rate, it will be in seconds, or you can vary between seconds to minute. So, but even though it has less than a second option as well available, but in all practical purpose, you can go with seconds to minute level. That is a reasonable timeline we can scan particular the thing or object and its data points. So you can think of each of these as one particular machine's different characteristics. So you can connect, and then you can view them, and then you can consume this because this is a more simple OPC client. But in the industrial environment, this OPC client will be incorporated in the visualization layer. right? So we can, by passing on the server name or the IP address, and then the class ID, this is the underlying. So by passing on the server, this is the server UID, and then you can pass the namespace, and then you will all set. So you can access the setup tags, which is similar to the topics, the terminology used in the MQTT, which we will see after a while. So this is one of the standard protocols which is used in the industry space. And then I'll also show you the one more protocol. It's called Kepware. So hope all of you able to see this, right? So
Yes, yeah.
So this Kepware is one of the most powerful application, I would say. So this supports wide variety of protocols in the industry space. So anyone you want to do some laboratory projects, communication projects, connecting to your embedded system. So this tool supports wide variety of options. And the best part is you don't have to write any C or C++ program or .NET program, especially for serial port communications. So this will provide better option, and then no code or a very low code kind of environment. So one of the modules, so part of this you have to install, there is a underlying component called UCON. So UCON stands for User Configurable Protocol. So once you have it in hand, so you can know, if you know the protocol of the particular communication device. So generally, what we call the OEMs or the original equipment manufacturers, they provide the communication protocols, right? So what are the underlying bits and bytes, what it stands for, and what is the start bit, and then the end bit, and then what is the other detailed communication details. So once you have in hand, and then you can start configuring yourself, and then all you need to do is have a device and connected to the controller. Either it could be a gateway. So once you connect to the gateway, so you can, once you install this particular UCON protocol modules, so once the gateway you have connected, then all you need to do is create a channel. So channel is nothing but a gateway you can think of, right? So any gateway, so then you can connect, and then you can choose. And then for the current one, I have chosen the UCON. So there are other supported devices as well there. So you can choose. There are a wide variety of GE and others, and most of the protocols, standard protocols, industrial protocols are supported. Even the basic serial port communication as well, it's there. So you can use one of them. And then once you choose the channel, and then you need to have the device. So the device is nothing but, it can be an because each gateway can support one or more devices, so you can connect, and then you have to mention what is the type of ID you use. Generally, it is like a unique ID, or the single characters that we use are 2 characters, because based on the gateway number of ports supported in the gateway. So based on that, you can choose that, and then you can choose the device ID. So if your gateway has 8 supported 8 ports, then you can choose the 1 to 8, and then these are the other parameters. So you can, based on the settings shared by the OEMs or the controller manufacturer, you can configure them, and then you can enable other options. And then once done, so the device is all set. And then, so once the protocol, the device is chosen, and then particular device, what is message you need to send. So if it is a two-way communication, you need to send a request message. Or if it is unsolicited or asynchronous kind of communication, then you need to just write what you need to be received. So you need to have the message format, and then so this is called transaction editor, so which will create the response structure, right? So I can create a group to so the particular device you have or the controller, and then the message structure you can create, and then you can create a tag block or so, and then you can specify what messages you are going to pass or receive. So this is a key thing when you communicate or you write a communication request message. So each character by character you can configure. So it supports what is the data type you are going to receive. So whether it's a long, short. So these are all generally provided by the device manufacturers. So you can choose the right message type, and then you can choose the other bit options. And then once you choose, so you can choose particular message and then the data format, and then you can format what will be the generally the communication protocol you must have seen. So what is the precision level, and then whether it is a string is a fixed length or varying length, and what are the spaces it will be populated by the specific characters, either it could be null or zeros. So this is all very well. If the original manufacturers, equipment manufacturers, they'll have very good documentation. So you can configure them, and then once done, and then you can all set. So you can access this particular device from the OPC client application. So here you have option of creating whether it's a particular communication is both request as well as response. Then you need to write a clear block for tag block for reading or the request, and what is the response. So then generally the request you need to write in the right, and then what you get is on the read only. The response message it has to be on the read only mode. So once this is done and all set, and then you can access that particular tag from not only the Kepler client, as well as you can access from the other client as well. So I'm trying to connect from this the Kepler, and then with the tags we configure at the response we configure. So once a tag is set, then you can communicate with the OPC client, and then you can access from anywhere. So either this could be a the simple OPC client for test purpose, or it could be a visualization layer. It could be a web application or other mobile-based applications. So that can be accessed. So without this, you need to write a lot of code in terms of creating a serial program. It takes a lot of while, and then it takes a lot of effort. So if you use these kind of tools, it will make a lot of time. Say it saves a lot of time, and then you can complete your project much more shorter timelines. So with this, I'll just move back to the other this thing demo on MQTT. Thanks.
Yeah, I just rejoined. Can you please?
Yeah, now we can hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you please make me as a host?
Yes, yes, sure.
Yeah, thank you. Hope you are able to see my.
Yes, sir. Yeah, slide is clear. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you. So again, coming back to the third protocol, which is of important for IoT or Internet of Things applications, is and more the basic or foundation one, which every one of us we need to focus on is MQTT. So MQTT stands for Message Queuing Telemetry Protocol. So that term may be not. It's a telemetry generally used in the old process control systems. So it is used mainly for monitoring the long distance pipelines, and even today it is used in railway signaling as well. So, and then this is originally developed by two the R&D people from IBM, so Andy and other Arnold. So they both have their own companies, and then Arnold has a company called Cirrus Link, so which is making the custom applications for process industries and the layer above the SCADA systems. So that is the background and how MQTT came into play. And then if you have some spare time, you can understand there is a low code platform called Node-RED. So again, came from IBM. So Node-RED is the more graphical user interface based IoT development platform, which has some provision for industrial applications. So MQTT is more lightweight because of the nature of the communication and the form factor, power, and other similar constraints. So that's where MQTT came into the picture. So and then when they started, it was more like machine to machine, and then the underlying, if you see the architecture at the bottom, so the client can create folder as simple as a folders where it keeps publishing its parameters or characteristics, whether it could be a temperature, pressure, or any parameter of that particular thing or the object. So whichever the other consuming machine or the application, or could be the other controller, so which need to subscribe to that folder and then keep reading that. So that makes more life easier because it's asynchronous, and then it's a RESTful service. So only thing is they built around the reliability and the security layer around that. So that makes much more life easier. And then just getting into the 3 or 4 characteristics of MQTT. So one is pops up the architecture. So the similar to one which we have seen few minutes back on the OPC. So there we call it as a namespace, or that group, adding a new group, and then you can add time series tags or OPC tags. So here there is no tag concept because it's more flexible, because based on which type of device and then which type of message it's want to deliver, it is left to the device. So and because the consuming device or the application, so they can just need to subscribe and then the task of processing the data, it is left to the consuming applications or the consuming devices. And then each device can have option both, publish. It can publish as well as subscribe. So it can subscribe to the data for the other machine, or it could be, subscribe for the other application. So it could be applications residing in the cloud. It's like Microsoft Azure or Amazon AWS, so or the Google GCP, Google Cloud Platform. So it both way, two-way communication established. And MQTT brokers is the one which delivers the messages, or it is like equivalent of servers in the client server architecture. And these are the some of the registered MQTT brokers which we will be using during the demo. One is the EMQX and then the Hive one. So the Hive one. So these two we will be using in our demo. So there are other MQTT protocols, and then some with MQTT with WebSocket, which is enabled version, which can be directly consumed in our web applications or assemble as a web page. You can just directly call this MQTT with WebSocket. And these are the basic information about that. And then currently what we will be using the demo is MQTT 5, specification 5, which is the recent one. And then it's all created by OASIS standards. So even other standards like in the cloud, Tosca and other you must have come across. So they all hosted or maintained by the forum called OASIS. And then and just to give a comparison about various protocols. So in terms of architecture, it's more or less everyone follows the client server or client broker kind of thing. And then the request response, again, it is like PubSub, or it could be a request response. And then the header size is HTTP is the most heaviest one. And then QAP and MQTT you can compare. It's the lightest one is MQTT. So that is the reason it gained more popularity, and then the adoption in the industry as well as the personal area based applications. And then the message size, obviously HTTP will have large, and then it can support even the MBs of data, but QAP is the lowest, and then the MQTT can handle much larger file size or the data size. And then the other layers and then the connected or the supported methods. So more or less they all follow the similar. And then the quality of service. And then MQTT gives some option compared to QAP if you see. And then the security layer as well as better adapted. If you see the security layer TLS. So most of them now use 2 or 2.1 more. And then the default ports. So this probably will be using 8000 or 1883. So that is the most commonly used. So we'll move on to the demo. So hope you have registered, or you can, no need to register as well. So we can just.
Sir, can you share that
Yeah, sure.
in chat?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. what you are using, that URL alone you can share now.
Yeah, sure. So this is the key, the website. So from there we can get access to the other links. So the one I shared in the chat window, please use that, and then you will have access to that. So let me know once you people able to access this. This is a simulation server, so used for mainly testing purpose. And even the real the customer projects, we will be using a lot of simulators for testing purpose, because number of sensors, it will be in thousands. So more from the performance testing point of view. So we will be using it. So hope you able to access this particular web page, and then we will use this particular demo, the version 5, MQTT version 5. So you can click on there are 40 sensors provided for testing purpose. So we will be using that. So just click on the link on the top. So this is the link we will be using. So once you click on the link, it will take you to the simulation server, the hosted web page. So once you have it, so this is the actual simulation, MQTT simulation server. So you can access, there are 40 sensors, and then individually we can change the settings, and then we can do trial and error, and then we can do, right? I mean, what if kind of analysis we can do. So if you see the tags or the data points from 1 to 10, it belongs to particular folder, the server space, and then the tags from 11 to 20 belongs to Eclipse, and then 21 to 30 belongs to Mosquito, and then 31 to 40 belongs to EMQX. So now this, now we set, I hope most of you are able to see or view this. And then once MQTT broker or server is ready, then we can use one of the clients.
So participants, you can enter your responses. Either it is yes or no, you can in chat window, so that sir will know whether you are following.
So once you have access to the MQTT broker, so now we will, all we need to do is for accessing that tags and then changing and then seeing that. So first we'll use the EMQX, the client. So either you can click on this. If you see the line which I highlighted, so you can access that client, MQTT client from here. So it will take you to the new web page. Sorry, I think it's no, this one, sorry. So from EMQ, so the line number 4, it's a tools.emqx.io. So this is the client for the data points from 31 to 40. So hope you were able to get the client, MQTT client. So the moment you access this page, so you will be getting,
We are getting the privacy error, sir.
what is it?
For me, it is getting. I don't know what about others. Your connection is not private or something like that. It is
Oh,
coming.
there. Okay. So you can try the other client as well, ma'am. So this is the
Okay.
one, the first one, the Hive one. So
Mm.
you can access the broker.hive.com. So this is the
Mm.
other browser client. So MQTT
Okay,
client.
sir.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, sir. We are getting.
Yeah. I'm posting the other option as well. So let me know once you can use this. This is a Hive-based client. So you can use one of them. So one of the clients, I hope most of you able to access. So apart from the server you are accessing. So for
Sir,
connect,
we are getting this. Hive MQ,
yeah,
we are getting.
okay. So for connecting to that, you can see this is a typical client string or what we use typically in the OLDB connectivity kind of thing. So the host name you can specify whichever that for the data points from 31 to 40. So that's what we will be using. And the port name is important. So its default is like 8083. And then the part you can leave it to the default one. And then all we need to do is just click on connect here. So the moment connection established, you can see the connected message or alert. And then now you will keep receiving the data. For the topic, so we need to use this particular folder for accessing the data point 31 to 40. So you can just on the text box right to the topic, you can use this. And then just click on the subscribe. So now you can see this is how we receive the message. So it keep publishing. So we are subscribed to that, and then the source, the broker is keep publishing that. And then for just a sample, we will be changing the value of temperature. So you can see the one temp currently value is 1997, 9,799, and then 80,000. So just to see whether we can change that from the broker. So you can just switch back to the source or the broker and then just click. So the moment the small triangle on the left, it just shows us the particular tag has been selected. So you can choose one or multiple tags. I'm just choosing multiple tags by shift and click. So you can choose all the setup tags which are we have subscribed, because we have subscribed this particular tags from the EMQX server. So and then just move to the on the main menu on the application, just go and change the temperature. Just click on set temperature, and then it will pop up with a small window. So or no, dialog box. So you can change the temperature. Yeah. So now if we see what are the tags we have shown, the data points, it is showing us 31 to 40. So the default value is 50,000. I'll change to some other value. So now we can switch back to the again client. So you can see now, so the value has changed. So for all the 10 data points. So in real life, we will be connecting, say, for our home automation example, so temperature or the humidity, right? The air purity level. So that data point, it will be published in this way from the broker. So in home automation use cases, the device provider themselves will be hosting this. So the new data points, the moment we connect our sensor, so it will be, published from the brokers, and then our mobile application, it is like, we can treat like a client. So we'll be keep on getting the new updated the sensor values here. The similar thing we can use in the other as well. So for MQTT, so it is the tag numbers from 21 to, yeah, so I think 21 to 30. Similarly, we can change these values, select the sensors belong to that particular broker, and then we can change the values. And then we can quickly go to the, and then we can confirm whether the client, the port numbers and the folders are same. So then we can connect it. So here also similar to the other client which we are using. So, and then here the topic, we can leave it as it is, and then we can just subscribe to the topic. So similarly, we can try for the other tag data points groups. So we'll move to one of the client applications. You can disconnect, and then you can change the host name. So I'm just going to get the host name for this. So you can go to edit and then configure. I need to choose. So here you will get all the broker name and tag names, and then the client ID. So I'll just map to the first set of data points, and think the port is 1883. So I'll just change the port, and then I'll connect to the first set of data points. Just still, yeah, it's 8,000. So, and then get connected, and then you can visualize that by subscribe to that set of tags. So whenever you create a new application and then you can test use this particular tools to test the communication, and then establishing the communication with cloud applications as well. So probably tomorrow we will see one of the cloud platform where we will be leveraging the simulated servers data, and then we'll have end-to-end. See, now from the first day we have seen what is the basics of IoT, and then we understood what is the structured way of implementing that, and how it will be used in the actual industry using digital twin and the framework or the standards as per the industry 4.0. And then today we understood what are the different protocols, starting from sensor to controller, and then controller to the consuming application. So now, once the consuming application, we got the data from the sensor to the platform, and now, and then tomorrow session we will be seeing how it is secured way accessing this data, and then creating a visualization at the basic level, and then how to add some algorithm or calculations around that to get a better insights about the data. For example, even the simplest performance of a particular equipment or a device. So you need to have some KPIs, right? Key performance indicators. So that has to be established. And then in the real world, so you will be linking this particular insight to the profitability of that particular company or organization. So that's how we can connect sensor to, there's a concept called sensor to boardroom. So IoT helps us in taking this data from sensor to the boardroom. In the sense, literally boardroom means establishing how to achieve the profitability of that particular organization. So IoT is one of the key, I would say, the framework and the platform which gives a lot of visibility, and not only for a larger organization, even with a lot of open source platforms available in this thing. So availability. So we can even small establishment also can afford this. And then tomorrow we'll be using a tool called ThinkBoard. Sorry. So this is the one we will be using it, and then you can just register yourself and then try out, and then we can connect and then configure them side by side till the end to create a dashboard. And so you need to just create, you need to install any applications on your machines. Just you need to register yourself, and then we'll go through a simple use case, how to take this particular data and then visualize in the things boards dashboard environment. So with that,
Sir, I'm having one doubt regarding that MQTT.
Yes,
so you have configured first one, right? In HiveMQ, you configured first one. So I'm trying to configure the same thing, but it is showing for me it is read only.
Okay. So which one?
HiveMQ.
HiveMQ, okay.
In that first one, I'm trying, but for me it is opened in read only mode. I couldn't able to.
So this one, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For you also on the top it is mentioned as read only MQTT lab. So whether we are,
we can try with the other one, yeah, because we can able to see changes though. It's allowing to changes the data. Yeah, it's allowing. So
okay. So configure also it is allowing. I'm not getting that OK button.
Oh, okay. Maybe everyone is using the same environment. Maybe we can you can try after some time. So
okay, sir.
or you can try the other set of tags. These.
Okay, okay, sir.
So most of the performance wise, I found this one, the EMQX is more faster. So
Okay, okay.
maybe people used less number of people use this particular. You can try this one. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay.
And for tomorrow's session, we have option, so you can use the Thingboard option, and other Microsoft Azure also provides that, and then Amazon AWS also there. But the challenge is we need to only subscribe or create a register with only the entering the credit card details, which I don't recommend that. I mean, because unless we are very clear of the use case, and unless disable all the services, it will keep billing you. So I don't recommend that option. But once you are sure of you want to really host and create some good use case, then you can go for that option. But ensure that after your usage or the learning part, disable and then completely shut down the services. So that is the drawback of all those platforms. So ensure that you can try out other platforms as well. So I myself tried both Microsoft Azure, connecting the data of the OPC, and then you may have to install some additional few applications, and like the device explorer in your laptop or desktop to connect the simulation servers to the Azure, the IoT platform. So, and if you are thinking the use case which consumes a lot of data, then you can think of those options. For learning purpose, these are the tools which has enough capabilities and functionalities to give you a good perspective of the learning perspective. This is better, this is good enough. So if you want to try out the professional applications, then you can go for Microsoft Azure or AWS. So with that, I'll close the session for today. So let me know if you have any queries.
Participants, you can post your questions. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Yeah, I'll definitely share the feedback link. But before that, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Okay, sir.
Okay, ma'am. I think we can. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. We'll come back tomorrow with some more use cases and learn few configurations.
Sir, one of the doubt is we have
Yeah.
register for things board professional trial version or
Yeah. Trial version is fine. Yeah. So
okay.
that's sufficient.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Because
Thank you,
most of
sir.
the application, most of these tools, whatever I shared during the course or the workshop, so which are all either 1 month trial will be there, or some of them they'll have 2 hours demo kind of thing. So which is
This IoT simulator you have shown, no? That is full, any time we can use, right?
Yeah, Kepware, it's again only 2 hours demo, ma'am. So that you can use it.
Okay.
But for learning
Okay.
purpose, it's good enough.
Okay.
All we need to just to restart that service. That's also.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So, thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Participants, the feedback links is shared. You can enter the feedback now. Those who entered the feedback, you can leave. Yeah, thank you very much.
मम्मा आपके पास